Welcome everyone to the next episode of InZOI. Today we are building a bit of a spoopy villa, and first of all we have to start with our character, Cynthia Grumting. This is gonna be our spooky character over here. But first things first, mega thanks to the reaction of the past episode where we've built the Paris-inspired Victorian style build. Today we are building this spooky house just to test a couple of other things. So at the moment you are seeing a couple of things, a couple of videos from my testing phase, so to say. Around the time when the full game will be launching for you guys, or actually the early access for everyone, I'll be releasing a full-on building tutorial, but therefore I needed to test a couple of things. And here's to a big shout out to the InZOI Discord, I should say, and specifically a couple of members who have shared you know, their knowledge. And I'm not sure if I can name them because they're in like a creators group, and as I don't know if these people want to be named, you know, I'll be asking next time. But they, you know, everyone is sharing some ideas, and this time around there were some ideas shared about how to basically create certain roof portions, and there is a trick to merge roofs into each other. I talked about that in the last episode, that this wasn't actually working for me properly before, but now it is, and I'm very happy about this, because there is just a simple trick to use another you know, kind of a tool, or basically not tool, but to just use another control. So what you do have is you have an ease to be controlled, or the actual roof itself, and if you just move the ease, you can move stuff into each other. Didn't know, or keys ease, how's it called? Anyways, that kind of gable thing, I guess, that you can move. So yeah, also what I was testing with this build, as you can tell here from the footage, is that I needed to check on a couple of different height elevations, but more about the height elevations now in a second. Basically, the thing is, you have all these platforms and you can change the different elevations, but you also have different height for the walls. And I gotta say, I tried a couple of things, and at this moment in time, I didn't really figure out how exactly it works. So it appears that if you connect staircases, as you can see, to a certain raised platform, they will attach to the higher level, but they won't kind of attach to the lower platform, which is a bit of a bummer, because I think, you know, the ceiling always defines the next level, and there are some blueprint ceiling levels in here, or ceilings basically you can put down, or floor tiles, I should say. You better work with them. I did this wrong in this build specifically, but again, there will be some tips and tricks video once the game is out for everyone, because it felt like a bit finicky. And also the building mode, like the blueprint mode, that there is actually accessible to anyone right now. I think it ended today, or it ends tomorrow, whatever. This one does have a couple of features that this mode doesn't really have at this point in time. I guess they're going to fix this relatively quick. It's just about tiny things where it just works a bit more stable in the blueprint mode than it works in here, which is kind of weird. And also it seems like other people have different types of, you know, not saying bugs per se, but some people can actually use the Alt key to merge things into each other more than others. It's a bit of a weird one. But you know, this is why they label this as early access. The build mode, however, still is pretty damn impressive. There are so many things you can do with a lot of patience, and I think this is about the most improvement can be, or like the biggest improvement can be achieved in the accessibility of some tools. Like, I don't want to fiddle around with these platforms over here that much. So like, there's a little issue right now. You can only alter the platforms when you put them down, and as soon as you've edited the first time, you'll not be able to do it the second time around. It's a bit of an odd one, and it's definitely not meant to be this way. So yeah, and also sometimes when you place certain things down and there's an indication of a red outline which tells you, okay, that's not going to work. But then there is also a yellow kind of outline to pieces you will destroy when you do a certain action. The problem is that this outline sometimes disappears if you're not on the level, if you're not on the same level, and sometimes putting down a platform will effectively destroy the ceiling, which for the ceiling is not too bad, but like if you have a roof on top, it's not too nice. So you better work your way from the lower level to the upper level, and you don't put the roof on before you're done with everything else. And yeah, I went forth and back here to test a couple of ideas about the building, you know, how to use the balconies. I definitely wanted to do and have some height elevations. And also wanted to try out if I can fake like a round wall over here. So I used the pillars to create a bit of a rounding thing over here, and I wanted to drag them all up, but it appears that they interfere with certain areas. So the further you put them away, then it all of a sudden works. And I just didn't really figure out. Sometimes it just kind of says like furniture is not allowed to overlap. And what I figured is that these things work pretty fine with walls, but as soon as you've got platforms involved, these platforms are super nasty. They just don't want to work with you. So this, by the way, is the roof, and you'll see in the footage over here, I tried my best to kind of do anything, but it just didn't let me work, as you can see. But the wrong thing I did is I pulled on the blue lever on over here. I should have used the green ones, because the green ones do control the ease of the roof, while the other one just controls the roof overall. I didn't really know about that, and it would have been nice to have a little hint. And just in general, there are a couple of controls relatively hidden in the UI. They're super nice once you figured them out. Like, for example, if you select a full room and there is one wall missing, let's say, and then there is like a little yellow, what's that, not an even arrow, it's like a little bit of an icon on the corner which tells you if you want to fill in the room, and then it just automatically creates the missing walls to create a room. That is kind of cool, but again, it took me a while to figure that out. Anyhow, so let's talk about the architecture of this house, because, well, frankly, there's not really that much to talk about. There will be a bigger cut now in a second, because I had a couple of crashes. Not really sure why that was, because the game previously did work pretty stable for me, and at the moment I have a weird issue. The game just won't let me save, and I always need to do a bit of workaround whenever I'm done with the recording session. I do need to basically just save the property. This is something I can do. This is also why the whole build is already uploaded to Canvas. I just needed to save that for myself. Need to save the game, re-enter the game, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, again, this is an early access to the early access, so the day one patch or so is not even live. They are gathering a whole bunch of, you know, feedback from us now. The bug reports are, you know, going hot in and so on. But like, what I want to tell, because I have got, you know, I spent so much time in the building mode the last couple days. I don't know, it's just my thing, you know. We will get into gameplay eventually, but I just wanted to kind of get some houses in to fill my city, you know, do a couple of things. There is also like a creator challenge I'm actively working on. I don't know if I'm gonna make that deadline #1, to be honest with you. It's a half a hard one. Maybe I'm gonna go into the second round with the creator challenge. That's a fun one I got actually this time, so it would be very sad if I don't, you know, jump into it. But hey, so if you're interested, by the way, and if you're German, the first episode of that challenge is on my German channel, but just like part of it. The full video will be on this channel. But anyways, back to the architecture of the house. I'm just gonna go for a typical kind of spooky house, American inspired. Yeah, what is that? Like is it a villa? I guess it is a villa, but it's like an old rundown villa. Or not even rundown, maybe it's just like the usage of these dark, weird colors, and just like the stories evolving around the house makes it spooky. Just like, spooky doesn't necessarily mean rundown, in my opinion. Like, it can also be like the vibe around it can also be perfectly spooky, even though if it's fully, I don't want to say modern, but clean and done. And, you know, I found this interesting tile floor, whatever. It looks like this kind of ugly tiles a lot of typical German houses have in their basement. if they have like a nicely made basement and it's not like pure concrete, they sometimes have these type of tiles, very ugly ones, not gonna lie. This, by the way, over here was the yellow outline where I destroyed the roof now, but like this time I noticed that. It's just like I didn't want to. But yeah, one thing in particular I want to mention about the building mode. I'm very not bad sad about, like, I think the biggest pain I have is that there is virtually nothing to hide or make the differences between levels nicer. So we don't have actual horizontal beams, we don't have anything like you know, brackets. I talked about that in the last video. We don't have anything else. However, I did find a workaround for that. Not in this video, because, you know, there's a couple of footage I recorded a couple days ago and finished a couple of things off now. But, like, there is a workaround I found. I can't wait to showcase this to you guys. It's going to be very fun. There's just a couple of things I need to iron out before I'm very, you know, confident to share that with the world. But, yeah. Also, what I find in this game is the way how they handle different elements in this game is like super nice. You just saw me putting down that little fence, and that is just such a way more easy approach than any other building game I've seen so far, like in this sim genre. Like, you just have that fence tool and you drag the fence, and then you go into the edit appearance mode and you just change what type of fence you want to have. I think this is generally so cool because you can lay out your whole building and put fences down where you want them. I mean, same obviously goes for walls and semi-walls and stuff like that. It just really does work wonders, because I feel like this is exactly what I wanted to have for so long also in Sims, because like it just kind of annoys me to go through the whole menu all the time. So I think UI wise this is a perfectly nice decision to just have the ability to use the tool and then afterwards edit the appearance of what you want, like change it from a modern to a very old type of fence, change it from a metal to a wooden fence, and then for the semi walls also edit the appearance and edit the height of it on the go, because that eventually over here that necessarily is a semi wall, while then you also have the fence in front of the house, which you can put down from the menu, but then you can also go in and change the appearance afterwards. So very nice in my opinion. You also see that a couple of things I used over here as like, yeah, fake ivy, I should say. Like, I wish to have some ivy as well. I mean, I tried a couple of things with some textures here and there, but it just doesn't work exactly the way it should. So ivy would be a mega tool, a mega piece. And despite the fact I know that they're going to open this game up in, I thought it was update 2, they announced that they will be opening this up for modding, like getting modded items in. I do wish though that Crafton is giving us a lot of these wonderfully crafted items as well for the game, so that people are not you know, in desperation almost, I want to say, but necessarily they don't need to go to the workshop to, there is no workshop obviously, but like if 3D modeling is allowed, please make sure that this is kind of canvas integrated and that we properly download things that are safe, because like I don't want to have another city skyline situation where my whole game is breaking because I want to have certain elements. It just needs to feel natural. The one thing I love so much about the Planet games is the fact that whatever you create is kind of relatable, because everyone has the same toolbox, and this toolbox is actually adjusted and enlarged every single time there is an update. And if people share their creations, they share them with everyone. And I love the fact that this works the way it is. And despite the fact we got modding in Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo very late, that is fine, you know, because that's been a couple of years into the game's lifespan. But we are at the beginning of early access, and it just kind of would feel like a shame if you are so much dependent on mods already, because I do see the argumentation that a lot of people say, hey, this game doesn't have a really nice charm because there is a, like, the art style is missing. I kind of disagree at this point, because I feel like within the obviously very realism focused art style, there is a good coherency and I like it. It could be better, but it does obviously suffer from the fact that you can bring in your own textures. That's already the first step to basically create a bit of a problem. But overall the aesthetics look good. One thing I do see is, like, obviously the properties you have versus the ones around you, they just don't match. And what would really help is to give us some like a slider to age our house, because in game there is the option to have like aging for the city, and it would be lovely to have aging for our own houses as well in form of decals or something like that. But I must admit that, like, I do kind of like the way it is. I can't say anything against this. It's fine. But if you bring in mods, obviously the quality of mods will be very, very different, from very nice ones, super hyper realism, to almost Sims-ish art style. And that just will change the appearance of the game. And I do hope, if they allow that, there is a certain way to make sure that the art direction is somewhat followed. Anyways, now it's time to move into the game and show you around a little bit with the house. Here we are in game, and we do have a look at this house. Oh, I just figured that there's a there's a roof in the ground. Let's quickly get rid of it. There's a roof in the ground for whatever reason. I forgot to get rid of it. So here we go. We are basically in the build mode, but now let's switch back to the free camera again, because that one just looks really cool if we're in the free camera, as you can tell. And this is our finished villa, kind of spoopy villa. I do really love how it turned out. There is still a lot of improvements to be done. There is still a lot that can be improved and should be improved upon in future builds. As I said, it's still kind of the learning stuff, and I'm just like very much in love with how everything looks. If you just zoom in a little here, you do have like these curtains and so on lurking around, and in this mode, actually, I can finally position the camera the way I wanted it to. It's basically the free camera you need, and also you can hide the UI if you want to, so basically like this. And now we can look at it in-game, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I was mentioning last time that I wasn't able to do this, but apparently it was just my own stupidity that kept me from making good photos. And here we are now being able to move around. I also like the fact that we have someone walking around here, like just in front of this house. Just really love it. So if we fly in real quick, we can see the house from the inside. I just put a couple of things down. It's not meant to be exactly logical. Look at that. It just like kind of looks so good. I love that. And then we fly over here. We have a kind of cupboards. I just made this room a little bit so that from the outside it appears as if something is going on. But just like the looks of it, I'm very happy that you can create stuff like that. That you can create interiors that look like a bit more spooky, or like it's not really spooky. As I said earlier, it's all about the fact. Is there like a book down here? Oh my god! Is there like a book to keep that thing standing still? What the heck? That is so fun. Is this just a coincidence? Oh, it is. It's just like the book lying down here. Hold on. Can I make her? Wait. Hold on. I didn't see that, but oh wait. I need to just get back the UI. So hold on. Can I? First of all, go to free camera. Can I move here and click on the book? Okay, I can't select it in this mode, can I? No, hold on. Has this fallen down here? I'm sorry, I'm just disrupted with the... I do hope that this is an Easter egg, because that would be fun to not make this thing wiggle. That would be very fun indeed. The antique desk. I can't get to the book though. Anyhow, let's get rid of the UI again and have a look. So what I was saying earlier, like this is by any means like purely spoopy. It's like almost like sometimes spooky is achieved via how things are laid out and what you associate with it. And this is definitely something I would associate with, yeah, you know, spooky. I also kind of dislike the fact that I also need to do this all the time to just get to the... I wish there is an easy button to just let me view my house in its full glory. Also, the backside is not fully done. I did a couple of things here, but, you know, I didn't pay it. Honestly, I've treated it a little bit like a facade in the theme park. And there was a comment on the Paris buildings from Kane who said exactly this. And, you know, I fully admit that. Also, where's the gate? Hold on. I forgot about the gate. Where's the gate? The gate is gone. We need to have our gate real quick. Let's go to the building mode to place our gate in here. Not sure why this is gone. But yeah, Kane did mention that it looks a little bit odd and looked a little bit like a facade. And to be frankly honest, this is what it is, you know. It was always meant to be only a facade from the front, and you can do whatever you want with the backside. I do actually think for the moment being this is the best solution, because people, you know, still want to create and get their own spin on it, and so I think it was a good idea to not do it. Okay, I should not do this for the metal. That definitely doesn't look good. So let's go for the shutters and give this a marble and make the marble a little bit darker. That should look a bit better. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's leave the build mode again. Display the full house and go back into the free camera. Here we go, and then we can also disable the UI to have a little look. So this is the finished house. It does look kind of cool with the marble. What we have built in today's episode. Again, it's like a bit of a spooky mason, big old mason, I don't know, old villa house, city villa house. There's a lot of details missing, like some trims and so on you could use. I can see a couple of these things I used over here. You know what, we can actually go back into the building mode real quick to showcase what I was talking about. So just to give you a bit of an idea. Again, there will be a tutorial for you to explore, but we can always use these things and then just copy them in here and use the Alt key to override it, and then you can basically also have it somewhere over here if it works. I'm not sure if this looks good, but we could do something like that, you know, to give at least a little bit of detail. I wish to have like a beam that I can place underneath the roof trims, for example, or like just over here, you know, getting that one. But sometimes it just wouldn't let me. Just put it here, makes the whole thing look a bit nicer as well. But you get the point, you know, you get the point. I also had some other stuff as details here and there to just test out, but I decided against it for the final version. I would also love to be able to put a window in here. Unfortunately, we cannot, but it would be cool to have like a very tiny window that you can then squeeze in here. So that would be very fun, but it's also not a possibility, which is a bit of a sad thing. I would love to have like these tiny things you can place on these forefronts over here. I can't also just like trick the system. There's no way to do that. It would be fun to have it, because realistically you would have something like that in these arches or awnings in here, but yeah, it doesn't work. So this is where we are leaving, or where I'm going to leave you guys off with today. This is our finished house. You can obviously grab the house in the workshop if you want to. It is on canvas, uploaded on canvas. Just let me show you. So basically, as you can tell, the house is in here, and I did upload this to canvas. I'm not gonna install that. You can download this if you want to. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the build, to be honest, for the time I invested. So the next build will hopefully be a bit more detailed. I have certain ideas, but again, as always, you guys let me know in the comments what you would love to see. Last time around, I asked you guys, and you had some very good ideas about the series, what different type of series we can do. Big Bang Theory was definitely one of the most favorite ones, so maybe I'm going to do this. But for the next build, I'm going to go into a certain architectural style that someone else was commenting, and I was gonna do anyway. So yeah, be excited for that one. It's gonna look very awesome. I have already done most of it, and it's looking very, very slick. Can't wait for that. But yeah, more about this in the next episode. Don't forget, by the way, don't forget to subscribe and you know, make sure to follow the channel if you want to see stuff like that, if you want to see more builds, if you want to have more builds also in game. Follow me on the canvas if you have the game, because I upload them right away as soon as I've built them, so you don't need to wait for the video. It's gonna be there. And also, if you want to support the channel, you can either become a member or use the super thanks for a one-off, because as you know, I do this as a hobby and also need to juggle my time, and so obviously being successful on here makes me you know, get the time and money both equally to invest more time in gaming and in doing these type of videos, in case you want to. And if not, you can always also purchase from my instant gaming links. That also directly helps me. If you want a new game or DLC or whatnot, you can do so. Okay, enough housekeeping. I just wanted to, like, the reason why I'm here, by the way, is because I wanted to pet the doggo, but I can't. But you can see this is already foreshadowing that we potentially will have pets in the game as well. Can we actually go here? I think we can't. Okay, anyways, the doggo distracted me again from the outro. Have a wonderful time, guys. Don't forget, as always, to subscribe to what I just said, and have a lovely day. Thank you so much, and bye.